So where do the New Orleans Saints go from here? They are in a bit of a tough situation, I think is fair to say. You look at this chart next to me, they currently have a projected cash. This is the one thing they have that's okay, is they're all right cash-wise. They have some money. I'm projecting about $44 million, and again, that could kind of go $15 million in any direction. It's very hard to project, but the cash is not necessarily the biggest issue. The money needed if they wanted to re-sign all of their key free agents, and more on that in just a second, would be $72 million, and their cap space is currently negative $35 million. So there's definitely an issue they have to solve here. This is the chart for how they ended up last season in terms of PFF grade. So this is where PFF ranked them in each positional category. They love Andy Dalton. I don't know what's going on there, but they're big Andy Dalton fans. All right. Don't agree with PFF on everything. That's certainly one I don't agree with. But they had him as the fourth ranked, or the team as fourth ranked passing last year, but there were some other issues. Pass blocking and run blocking were both 26th, so typically the Saints very good at the offensive line position, not so much this past year, maybe with Trevor Penning getting healthy and just getting another year under his belt, that could help. Also, the receiving game was 13th best. As for the defense, before the defense, the running game was 18th best. Again, Kamara was banged up. You do have to wonder with these older running backs, just how much years do they have left in them? It just, running backs fall off quickly. They have short shelf lives. For the defense, run defense was mediocre. Pass rush was not very effective this year, as Cam Jordan still showed flashes, still was Cam Jordan at times, but maybe wasn't the dominant Cam Jordan we have seen in previous years. And the coverage was 12th, but again, this defense took a pretty massive step back. It was one of the scariest defenses in football in 2022. Really for the past 5 or so years, it's been one of the scariest defenses in football, but ironically enough, once they hire Dennis Allen to be the head coach, the defense takes a step back. I don't know how much of that, I think that might be more coincidental, as it probably is just part of guys are getting older, but still, sometimes it does happen where when a head coach spends now less time with the defense, then the defense isn't as well coached. That kind of follows. But as a whole, there's some holes on this roster, so for a team that does not have a ton of cap space currently, it might be a move to maybe, instead of trying to, still be competitive, maybe build for the future. As for their free agents and players they could cut, you have first Bradley Roby. He is someone who, the number next to their name, that's how many millions of dollars they're projected to get. Roby not coming off his best year, but has shown flashes, and corners are, notoriously fluky, so do you maybe buy low there with Roby? I don't know. I'm sure some team will. David Onyemata is projected for $10 million. Deontay Hardy is projected for $9 million, and the big name free agent, kind of one of the biggest guys we have to talk about, is Marcus Davenport, which, listen, the Saints have a franchise tag they can play with here. What do you do in that situation? I don't know. Davenport is someone who, that's a weird situation, right? Because you could totally say, let's build for the future. Let's save up some of the salary cap. Let's not worry about this. But are you really going to let Davenport just walk like that? But again, if you're paying him $23 million, is that smart business given where you're at right now? Probably not, but it sucks to lose him for nothing if you just get rid of him. This is kind of the bind the New Orleans Saints are in. Andy Dalton is projected for $7 million, which some people might say, well, we're not going to keep Andy Dalton, but you might keep Andy Dalton. That might be something you do, and if you don't keep Andy Dalton, you have to have a quarterback somewhere, right? You can't just not have a quarterback. They do have a first-round pick now, that since they what they got from the Sean Payton trade, so maybe you do something there. I don't know, but either way, it's just something you have to figure out. Shy Tuttle, P.J. Williams, Marquez Callaway, and Caden Ellis are all expected to get a little bit of money. As for the players they could cut, the only real notable one would be Jameis Winston, which I'm assuming either him or Dalton is going here. I don't think they're both coming back at this point. Winston would only save $4 million. They paid Jameis Winston. They were hoping that would work out. It still might. People still love Jameis. There's still a contingent of the internet that still believes Jameis could finally put it all together. I'll believe it when I see it. I think that there is some, Listen, I did this 5 years as a Tampa Bay fan. You can easily talk yourself into the positives, but the negatives are also there. So I don't know exactly what they do, but they're just in a fascinating situation. For me, I kind of view all of these NFC South teams as in the same boat a little bit of, I don't think any of them should totally fall for the, hey, this division's super weak, maybe we can get an easy playoff berth, because what's the goal? I mean, how well did that work out for Tampa Bay last year, who got the easy playoff berth, but then got crushed round one, and then what do they have to show for it? Sure, it's fun, right? Like, as a fan, you'd like to see your team make the playoffs instead of miss the playoffs. That's enjoyable. But as an organization, I think building for the future might be the correct move here, especially when they don't have a great first-round pick this year either. I don't see anything wrong with letting some of these free agents go. Maybe you could re-sign Davenport and let all the other guys go, because, again, you have the cap space, but do you go out and sign a Derek Carr? It's a debate. It's a dilemma. I do think that Dennis Allen might be pushing for that pretty hard, because he knows that if they have another bad year, he could be gone. So for him, getting Derek Carr would help him. Again, the report was that for Carr, basically the Saints had a trade for Derek Carr, but then Derek Carr vetoed it, essentially saying that he would not accept the trade anywhere, which makes some sense, right? Why get traded when you could get cut? When you get cut, you can choose to go anywhere, and they don't have to give up cap space, or, they don't have to give up capital, as in like draft capital and stuff, to get you. They just get you. So that's definitely interesting. And you could draw some comparisons to the Derek Carr and the Drew Brees situation. Now, that doesn't mean Derek Carr is going to turn into Drew Brees, just like, hey, here's this quality NFL starting quarterback that is on the free agent market. Does not happen too often. Usually they don't turn into one of the best quarterbacks of all time and a first ballot Hall of Famer, but, I can see the similarities and maybe why the Saints would find a way to talk themselves into it. So what should they do? In my opinion, what I would do is, I'm not huge on paying these $20 million plus edge rusher deals in general, so I probably maybe tag and trade Davenport might be the move for me. And then what I do is I think I build for the future, try to get a quarterback next year in the draft. That's the way I do it. What do I think they do? I think they still try to be competitive. I think they go out and they do their best to get Derek Carr. I think they very well might get Derek Carr. And if they don't, I think they get the next best available free agent on the market, which might be Jimmy Garoppolo. It might end up being Andy Dalton, and maybe they bring him back next year. This is a team that doesn't love the tank. It's not in their blood. It's not in their DNA, and we'll see how well it works out for them. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on the Saints as a whole, and where they should go from here, where they will go from here, and just what the situation is. What do you think? If you were the Saints, what would you do? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. If you like movies, check out my movie review channel. Every single movie title you see on the screen, I have a video about coming out within the next 2 weeks. I'm uploading a video every day for 2 weeks, so definitely make sure you're subscribed there. The link is in the description below. I got some other stuff on there too, some like breakdowns of certain scenes I like and things like that, so check it out.